The morning begins with a silence that feels heavy yet effortless, a quiet weight that settles over the entry to this small patch of earth. There is a specific quality to the light at this hour, a pale and silvered luminescence that does not so much strike objects as it does cradle them. The air is perfectly still, holding its breath before the day truly begins, and in this pause, the boundaries of the home feel soft and permeable. The wood of the gate bears the marks of time, a texture that speaks of many seasons passing in this exact spot, yet it stands firm, a silent guardian of the intimacy within. Shadows are long and blurred at the edges, stretching across the path with a gentle hesitation. There is no movement here, not even the smallest tremor of a leaf, as if the world has agreed to remain fixed in this single, perfect moment of arrival. The stillness is not an absence of sound but a presence of peace, a localized pocket of calm that belongs exclusively to this threshold. It is a space defined by what is kept out and what is cherished within, a domestic frontier where the bustle of the outside world simply ceases to matter. The light continues to shift almost imperceptibly, brightening the grain of the wood and highlighting the silvered moss that has found a home in the crevices. To stand here is to understand the value of a slow start, a gradual awakening that honors the transition from the public to the private, from the noise to the deep, resonant quiet of the front garden. The path ahead is a study in patience, a sequence of stones laid with a deliberate sense of scale that fits the modest proportions of the house. Each step forward feels like a deeper immersion into a world that is curated by time and light rather than by any external demand. The dappled sunlight creates a shifting pattern on the ground, a rhythmic play of brightness and shadow that feels like a visual hum. It is a narrow passage, hemmed in by the soft textures of greenery that lean inward, creating a sense of enclosure and safety. The air here is cooler, held captive by the proximity of the earth and the overhang of the eaves. There is a profound sense of belonging in the way the stones sit in the soil, settled and unmoving, having found their final resting place years ago. The eye is drawn toward the door, yet the journey is the focus, a slow progression through a space that demands nothing but observation. The light catches the moisture in the air, creating a faint haze that softens the architectural lines of the home. It is a scene of immense domesticity, where every element is scaled to the human experience of home, yet remains devoid of any active presence. The stillness is absolute, broken only by the internal realization of how quiet a front yard can truly be when the world is left behind at the sidewalk. This is the heart of the entrance, a place where the air smells of damp earth and shaded leaves, and the light tells a story of a day that has no intention of rushing. There is a singular beauty in the way a simple object catches the light when it is left undisturbed in its corner of the world. The warmth of the late morning sun finds the curve of the clay, turning the earth-toned surface into something luminous and vibrant. It sits on a ledge of brick that has seen the sun rise and set 1,000 times, a steady companion to the slow passage of hours. The shadows cast by the rim are sharp and clear, marking the progression of the sun across the sky with a silent, sundial-like precision. Around it, the garden remains in a state of suspended animation, a collection of shapes and tones that harmonize in the golden glow. The scale of the scene is tiny, a miniature landscape within the larger front garden, yet it contains an entire atmosphere of contentment. There is no wind to disturb the fine layer of dust on the brick, no movement to break the spell of the heat as it begins to build. The light is the primary actor here, sculpting the forms of the masonry and the vessel with a clarity that makes every texture feel significant. In this small space, the concept of time feels different, stretched out and thin, allowing for a deep appreciation of the stationery. The quiet is punctuated by the visual weight of the scene, a density of peace that feels as solid as the bricks themselves. It is a moment of pure observation, a recognition of the elegance found in the most humble corners of a residential life, where the sun is the only visitor and the stillness is the only language spoken. The glass of the window acts as a soft mirror, blurring the line between the interior of the home and the life of the garden outside. The reflection is a tapestry of greens and grays, a muted version of the world that feels even more peaceful than the reality it mimics. Under the overcast sky, the colors are deep and saturated, lacking the harshness of direct sun, and instead offering a palette of immense depth and subtlety. The frame of the window is a steady border, a reminder of the structure that anchors this small patch of land. There is a sense of looking both inward and outward simultaneously, a dual awareness of the shelter of the home and the openness of the garden. The air is heavy with the scent of upcoming rain, though the sky remains steady and gray. Nothing moves behind the glass, and nothing moves in the reflection. The world is a still life, a composition of light and glass and foliage. The texture of the wall surrounding the window provides a rugged contrast to the smoothness of the pane, a tactile element in a visual world. This is a quiet corner, away from the path, where the house seems to be watching its own garden in a state of perpetual reflection. The light is even and kind, revealing the fine details of the leaves without overwhelming them. In this stillness, the garden feels like a private conversation between the building and the earth, a dialogue conducted in the language of shadow and glass. In the deepest shadows of the front garden, where the sun rarely reaches, a different kind of life unfolds in the cool, blue-toned dimness. The shapes here are delicate and intricate, a contrast to the solid foundations of the house that provides this sanctuary. The air feels noticeably cooler in this enclave, a pocket of moisture and shadow that resists the warmth of the day. The textures are soft and feathered, overlapping in a way that creates a sense of hidden depth within a very small area. There is a profound stillness here, as if the shadows themselves have a weight that keeps the air from moving. The light that does filter down is indirect and soft, highlighting the tips of the forms with a gentle, pearlescent glow. This is the garden's secret space, the part of the front yard that remains hidden from the street, tucked away against the skirts of the home. The ground is dark and rich, a foundation of quiet strength for the fragile beauty above it. To observe this space is to feel the pulse of the garden slowing down, moving at the pace of the shade. Every element is perfectly placed by nature and circumstance, a domestic wildness that is contained and cherished. The silence is thick and comforting, a layer of insulation against the world beyond the fence. It is a reminder of the diversity of moods that can exist within a few square feet of residential land, from the bright openness of the path to the hushed, cool retreat of the porchside shadows. The bench sits in a state of permanent waiting, a fixture of the garden that has become as much a part of the landscape as the tree that shelters it. The afternoon sun is beginning its long descent, stretching the shadows across the grass in thin, dark lines that point toward the house. The light is warm and honey-colored, casting a glow over the wood and the surrounding greenery that feels nostalgic and heavy. There is a sense of rest that emanates from the scene, an invitation to a stillness that is both physical and mental. The tree provides a canopy of dappled light, a protective layer that softens the world. The scale of the front yard is evident here, a space that is large enough to breathe in but small enough to feel entirely secure. The boundary of the garden is visible in the distance, a soft blur that separates this private piece from the public lane. The air is still, though the light seems to dance in the motes of dust that hang in the warm air. Everything is in its place, settled and serene, participating in the slow ritual of the afternoon. The bench remains empty, yet its presence is a testament to the idea of the garden as a place of repose, a destination that requires no travel. The quiet is profound, a deep and resonant silence that is only heightened by the beauty of the fading light. It is a moment of transition, where the activity of the day gives way to the long, slow shadows of the evening. The golden hour brings a transformative light to the small details of the entrance, turning a simple iron bell into a sculpture of fire and shadow. The metal catches the low rays of the sun, highlighting the weathered texture and the fine patina that has developed over years of exposure to the elements. It hangs motionless, the cord and the clapper perfectly still, as if the air itself has become too thick with light to allow for movement. The background is a wash of warm, out-of-focus greens and the soft tones of the house's exterior, creating a sense of isolation for this one small object. This is the herald of the home, yet in this moment, it is a silent participant in the garden's evening prayer. The warmth of the light is palpable, a golden wash that seems to radiate from the surfaces it touches. There is a sense of finality in this light, the closing of a chapter, a gentle preparation for the coming dark. The stillness is so absolute that one could imagine hearing the sun as it touches the horizon. The domesticity of the scene is emphasized by the proximity to the door, the heart of the residence, yet the focus remains on the atmospheric quality of the garden air. The bell is a symbol of welcome that is currently enjoying its own solitude, a quiet sentinel in the fading glow of a perfect day. The light lingers on the metal, unwilling to leave, creating a moment of suspended brilliance that defines the peace of the front garden. As the sun disappears, the garden is bathed in the cool, ethereal blue of twilight. The colors shift from the warm golds of the afternoon to a deep, contemplative palette of indigo and charcoal. On the wooden boards of the porch, a few leaves have come to rest, their shapes dark silhouettes against the fading light of the wood. The transition is seamless and quiet, a gradual dimming of the world that brings a different kind of clarity. The house behind is a dark mass, a protective shadow that anchors the garden in the deepening gloom. There is a sense of the garden folding in on itself, the plants and the path losing their individual identities to become part of a singular, unified atmosphere. The air is crisp and still, carrying the scent of the evening and the cooling earth. The scale of the space feels even more intimate now, as the boundaries are obscured by the dark, leaving only the immediate surroundings visible in the low light. It is a time of profound stillness, a pause between the life of the day and the deep sleep of the night. The fallen leaves are the only evidence of change, tiny markers of the season's slow progress, resting where they fell without the wind to move them. The silence is layered and deep, a blanket of quiet that covers the front garden and the home it serves. This is the hour of the blue light, a time when the garden feels most like a dream, a space of pure mood and shadow. The first light of the evening appears not from the sky but from the porch, a single warm glow that pierces the deepening dusk. Viewed through the dark, skeletal branches of a nearby shrub, the light is a beacon of domesticity, a small sun that defines the center of this world. The contrast between the cool, dark blues of the garden and the warm, golden orange of the lamp creates a visual tension that is incredibly peaceful. The garden is now a world of shadows, where familiar shapes become mysterious and the air feels thick with the coming night. The light of the lamp spills onto the nearby boards and catches the edges of the leaves, creating a small circle of visibility in the vastness of the dark. There is no movement, no sound, only the steady, unwavering presence of the light. The home feels close and protective, its presence felt through the glow that emanates from its entrance. This is the garden at its most enclosed, a private sanctuary wrapped in the velvet of the night. The perspective from within the greenery emphasizes the feeling of being a quiet observer, a witness to the stillness that has taken hold of the residential space. The light does not struggle against the dark, it simply exists alongside it, a gentle reminder of the life that resides within the walls. The silence is absolute, a heavy and comfortable weight that signals the end of the day's journey through light and shadow. The day concludes in a state of total equilibrium, the front garden resting under a vast and silent sky. The house is a dark silhouette against the stars, a solid and enduring presence in the middle of this small patch of land. Faint ambient light from the world beyond the fence provides just enough illumination to trace the outlines of the path, the gate, and the bench. Everything is perfectly still, the plants frozen in their nighttime postures, the earth cooling in the night air. The garden has become a space of pure atmosphere, where the physical details are less important than the feeling of space and peace. The intimacy of the residential setting is still palpable, a sense of being in a place that is cared for and known. The silence is no longer just an absence of noise. It is a profound state of being, a deep resonance that vibrates through the dark. The stars above provide a sense of scale that makes the small garden feel both tiny and infinitely significant, a microcosm of the universe's own stillness. The boundaries of the home are secure, the front yard a protective buffer that holds the world at bay. This is the final expression of the garden's character, a place of deep, restorative quiet that belongs to the home and the night. The light of the stars is distant and cold, but the memory of the day's warmth remains in the stones and the wood. It is a perfect conclusion, a moment of absolute stillness that marks the end of the visual narrative.